Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. Now, Lisa Nandy's been out and about, and she's not been apologising. I know, shocking, isn't it? Normally, she's the surrender monkey they send out to do the rounds and apologise for someone else's mistakes. You know, when someone else has cocked something up, made a mess, shit the bed, whatever it'll be, they send Lisa Nandy out to explain it and say, hey, this wasn't meant to happen, but, whatever. But today she's out and about, and she's actually doing something about a policy from her own department. Yes, I'm surprised too, but there we go. Occasionally she does actually do some work. Now, she is, of course, part of the Culture, Media and Sport, well, actually is the Culture, Media and Sport Secretary. But she's really only concerned herself about sport. She hasn't got any culture. And as for media, well, she watches TV occasionally, I suppose. But she has provided an update on the proposed plans originally to ban under 16s from social media in Britain. This is alongside, or not alongside, this is along the lines of the Australian ban. And of course, she's basically saying no. She said that young people are really struggling, she said. But banning it is not something they want to do. They want to put reasonable steps in for care. They say, but effectively, there's no way they can ban it. And the only reason they're not banning it is because it's unpoliceable. Now, Australia has enacted what is basically since groundbreaking legislation. There's nowhere else in the world that's done it. It's the first one, globally that's done this, which bans children under 16 from accessing the social media platforms. And the law came into effect yesterday? Thursday. Whenever it was. Thursday, I think. Anyway, last couple of days. It places responsibility on social media firms to police their own sites to ensure that under 16s aren't, or under 16-year-old Australians in Australia aren't on social media. Now, any other country in the world, yes, they can. And if they're Australians in any other country in the world, yes, they can. Here's the interesting one, though. If you're a British citizen in Australia on holiday and you're under 16, can you still access Facebook, for example? Don't know that one. That's an interesting one. Someone who watches in Australia, and I know we have Australian viewers, please let me know what the state of affairs is on that. I'm not sure. Anyway, they've brought this in. Now, she was, or the British government were looking at a possible thing like this, particularly for TikTok. I think that's quite dangerous because that does affect a lot of people. That's aimed at children, and that's the Chinese state, effectively, isn't it? You've got lots of them. Twitch is another one that's sort of very popular with kids, things like that. Facebook, not so much anymore. That's for us old fogies. But anyway. This prohibition came into effect, and they said that it's going to save children. However, it probably isn't. It's almost impossible to police, which is why Lisa Nandy has announced that they're not going to bring it in Britain. There was, of course, very strong rumours that it was going to come in. Nandy's discussion basically said that she revealed the UK government's efforts to support young people during a social media emergency, and to do so by opening information. Well, that makes a change, the government giving information. He said, but effectively, how can we stop it? Because children will just lie. There's no way of policing it. People will use VPNs. They say they just can't, and what they're going to do, walk up and down the streets and have a policeman stop every under 16-year-old or someone they perceive to be under 16 and check their phone. That would be rife with legal complications. And so basically they're not doing it. They said it's just too difficult. She said they haven't closed their minds to other means of protecting children, but the ban is impossible. Now, I'm absolutely stunned by this. Lisa Nandy, common sense, living in a real world where we all know the problems. Well done, girl. Hope for you yet. There we go. She said there could be bans on specific social media, but based on content, and it could be a general ban rather than an age-specific ban, and so forth. She said, but it's going to be very difficult. He said, of course, the current generation, or the first generation that have grown up since birth, surrounded by this level of tech. Indeed, I mean, I didn't use a computer till I was about 11 years of age, and that would be 1978. And that was a teletype connected to, I think, an IBM 360 system. No screen. Everything was tap, tap, tap onto a piece of paper. Then you sent. It was a batch job. The computer would do the batch job and then send it back and print out the result on the paper. The moment I did it, I was hooked. Then there was the ZX80, the ZX81, the VIC-20. Then the Spectrum. Oh, the Specky. I grew up with a Specky. I've got a BBC Model B upstairs, but I've used everything. Amstrads, everything. And then we got into the era where everything became the same because it was all PC. And you lost all those individual little quirks that different computers had. Those were the days. Anyone who grew up in the computer boom of the 80s, you lived through magical times. Kids today will never live like that. They will never know the constant joy of the next bit of tech that was a step change. Now it's only evolution. Then it was revolution. Marvellous times. Reminiscence. Anyway, there we go. Lisa Nandy getting something right. My God, the world will end. Thanks very much. Bye.